Welcome to the Mild Opinion Podcast. I'm Luke.
I'm Logan.
And today we're going to be talking about some of our best picks, some underrated, overrated characters who are great supervillains in Marvel, DC, The Boys, Invincible, all sorts of stuff like that. So I was going to ask you to start off, who were some, and obviously some of these will have been said a million times over, but who are some of your all-time favorite superhero movie villains or show?
Yeah. Well, Green Goblin is up there.
Yep.
Willem Dafoe Green Goblin is top notch.
He's probably one of my favorite Marvel villains.
Yeah.
In movies and such. Just that character's great.
I mean, there's the obvious Thanos. You know what I mean?
Sure. Super iconic at this point.
Yeah. Darkseid's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Underused, unfortunately, for him being the big bad of DC.
Yeah. I think, too, it kind of just... the stories and stuff in, the DC movies were good, but just kind of underwhelming in, the villains that they use stuff. Because, I like Zod, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I guess he can also be on this list, but I'm whatever. I'm kind of taking or leave it on Zod. I'd rather see...
the Man of Steel Zod.
Yeah.
I feel like of all the things about that movie that have not aged super well in terms of, Superman and stuff, I feel like he's a good capture of, the ideal of Zod.
Yeah.
I had some of those written down as well, and then obviously, Heath Ledger's Joker, which we won't get too hung up on, is forever a great villain. And I was also going to throw out there Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, who I'm very happy is still an ongoing villain after 15 years now. Probably less than that, but probably more closer to 10 years. But of being a Marvel TV show villain. Also, since I love Daredevil a lot, I always think you cannot have Daredevil without Kingpin, and the version of both of them that go at each other, I think, are just incredible.
Yeah. I agree. Well, I feel too, that's a really good pick for this list, because, he is, super awesome. He's a very iconic villain, but, whenever we're talking about, iconic villains and stuff like that, he's kind of underrated just because, most people think, what I said, the Zods or the Thanos and, whoever, Darkseid, the crazy, powerful, big bad. He's just a dude.
He's a guy, and, the main thing that makes him dangerous is, you wouldn't want to be in a fight with him, but, especially as we've seen in, Daredevil Born Again and stuff, him behind political maneuvers is, insanely dangerous, and just in general from the start, his main thing that makes him dangerous is his ability to corrupt and bring societal things to a breaking point. It's just bad, and he's a bad dude. That's one thing I actually liked about Daredevil Born Again too, is in the slower start of stuff, they make both Daredevil and Kingpin seem they've changed, but it then has that slow burn into them stepping back into that
what they used to be.
Yeah, and so I'm very thankful that he's continued to be not a strength that they're shying away from using whenever they can. That.
Well, I think that's another interesting thing too about Kingpin is the character himself is he's doing bad stuff. You know what I mean? He's the ultimate mob boss.
Yeah.
And as you go through Daredevil and then now it's Born Again, which, as you're watching, you're well, first, he's the mob boss. He wants money, he wants this, he wants that.
Sure.
And then the more you get into it, the more you realize you're dude, he doesn't even care about this stuff. He just wants to be the big dog. He just wants to be on top. Power. That's all he wants.
Yep.
Just power.
Yeah, and he does quite a good job of getting it to a point where it's Daredevil's the only person who's I have to stop this guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, great. Thankfully, a great portrayal of him too. Acting, action, all of it is very good. And I'll go into the next villain here who I think at least deserves a little discussion is Homelander from The Boys, who, for a project that isn't DC or Marvel, I feel like he has become such a like iconic supervillain, and I'd say it comes probably pretty close between right now him and Omni-Man as the top contenders for like most iconic external villain in that regard. Yeah.
I agree. But, dude, I think one of the things that stand out to me about Homelander is, like, he's absolutely insane. Like, there's nothing very redeemable about him, but I think that's, like, part of what makes him, like, because, well, for one, he's just super, like, crazy strong. Yeah. Especially, like, in his universe, he's, like, way stronger than, like, most of the other characters that you see in The Boys. But also, like, as time has gone on, as the seasons have gone on, like, he's become smarter. He's, like, had, like, better plans and stuff. Like, his ideals are kind of shifting. And, like, you know, there's so many points in The Boys where you're like, dude, like, he's just completely insane. He's just, you know, power hungry. He wants to basically rule the world.
Yeah.
But also, it's just like, you know, there's nothing about him that's, like, redeemable. Like, you can't relate to him on, like, any level.
And that's what's interesting about him, too, is it's like, for as long as he has been the bad guy of that show, there are things about him, like, the more you learn about it, that are a good explanation of to why he is that way. But, yeah, it is just, at the end of the day, he is a very evil person. Yeah. And the more you learn about him, the more evil he becomes, but it's not from a way where it gets old of like, oh, he's evil, because he is just an interesting character, because it is like taking a very realistic, what if Superman was real and was insane and like psychotic, and people are afraid and are just trying to figure out how to like keep him just happy enough that he doesn't snap. And like that's been part of the whole thing of The Boys, is as he started to realize that more and more, and like not the power he has like physically, but just people's fear and like the influence he has on it, is what has made him become even more and more menacing as a villain.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
It's been good to see him get like smarter, because I want to say even in like season 1, he does make moves that are smart and stuff, but I feel like he's not the brains of a lot of stuff, and now he has become the brains, not in a sense where he's always the smartest person in the room, but he knows what his strengths are in that regard.
Yeah.
So, well, very good, very fascinating villain.
Yeah, and the other thing with Homelander, too, is the way that, like, I think this just makes him even more interesting, is the way that The Boys paints this picture of, like, oh, yeah, in season 1, everybody's just like, oh, yeah, he's the number one superhero.
Yeah.
And then you find out that he's evil, and they're like, oh, man, like, this is kind of nuts. And then everybody starts to find out that he's kind of evil, but then he gets a little bit of, like, a seemingly political influence. So then, even though everyone knows he's kind of just inherently evil, he has a bunch of followers to back him up, even though he's evil.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, like, this is just getting even more insane, like, from where it started to where it is now. It's like, dude, what is happening?
Well, we will very soon be seeing the ending of wherever they're going to go with Homelander as, like, the end game of the show. But, yeah, as the bad guy, too, they do such a good job in that show of showing his influence, and his actions have, like, incredible impacts, even if it's something small, on the entire world that they built for seasons and seasons of, well, also, like, you see it in Gen V and stuff, too. It just grows, and it's always, like, a presence, which is what makes him a great bad guy.
I'll segue over to one that you said earlier when we started talking about Homelander's Omni-Man, which I know he is redeeming himself. He's not bad anymore because he learned compassion. But Season 1 Omni-Man, we're talking specifically about Season 1 Omni-Man when he's bad. He's terrible. That is like another one of those things where it's like, it's so interesting. And I think part of what made him so interesting is, and kind of sort of similar to Homelander, for one, it's just cool because he's like way more powerful than everybody else at
Yeah.
that point in the show.
Yeah.
Also, the way that he has like the whole like double life, like he's like a good guy. Like people like him. Like he's the entire time. Like when you see him take out the Guardians of the Globe, you're kind of like, what the heck's going on?
Yeah.
But then the rest of the way throughout, season 1 until like the big fight and stuff at the end and like the explanation, he's a good guy. Like he's a hero. He saves people. Like there's nothing bad about him. He's a good husband, a good father.
Yep.
And then he's like, oh, well, I was just lying like that whole time. Like that was all I was just faking it. Like he just doesn't care.
And
it's
even like since then too, he like in his growth since then, you can like see how his mission has become, how he was like, I don't want that, but in the first place, it's almost like, yeah, he didn't necessarily want to, or just like he was so brainwashed into like, this is what I have to do, like so anybody who stands in my way is just they die. Yeah.
Well, and the craziest part about it too that makes it so interesting to me is like in season 1, he carried out like an entire human lifespan of just like being a good person.
Yeah.
Except for, the Guardians of the Globe incident. But other than that, like the whole time, he was just like years. Just a good dude, just a regular dude.
Yeah.
A helpful dude.
Yeah.
Also, even better than being a good dude, he was a hero.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, dude, I was lying that whole time.
Yeah.
It was just like that didn't mean anything. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And it's such a like defining moment early on in that show where the first episode establishes like, oh, the Guardians of the Globe are like your Justice League Avengers type people, and Omni-Man is just a really powerful, like, he's Superman basically. And then at the ending it's like, what did I just watch? Because they just established all of this, and then Omni-Man showed up and killed all of them, and then you don't even start finding out why or like what his purpose is until like probably the back half of that.
Yeah.
And they drop little hints of like just ways he's acting, knowing what that other people aren't seeing is like suspicious, but to other people it's just like, oh, that's just him. Like, he's a good guy. We're not seeing that because we don't know he's evil in a way. Yeah. I think too, it's something that I'm like excited to see more of in that show with. I don't know really what to expect with Omni-Man in the show, because I think the thing that happened in Chicago where they destroy basically the entire city has been a thing even to the most recent season, where people remember it and like hate Omni-Man, and like people of Earth remember it and are like, yeah, that guy, we hate him.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
With him redeeming himself, I feel like there is a cutoff to that at some point where he'll either die or just be in exile forever. Yeah.
I think the same thing too, because I'm like, he's redeeming himself, like he's trying to do the right thing, and he's on the good side, but I'm like, you kind of done the irredeemable thing.
Yeah, you kind of were an evil scumbag for a little bit, but yeah. Also two characters that have been going on at the same time, Homelander and Omni-Man. It's been cool, interesting, different portrayals of like that Superman if he was evil kind of thing. But yeah, this will take me into one character I'm going to single out for a specific thing, which is the Spider-Man villain Venom has now been done twice in movies, and I like the first Venom movie, and I liked Let There Be Carnage, but I didn't think it was long enough, and I didn't think they did Carnage right. And in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, I feel like that movie's just aged well.
Yeah.
Despite some like corniness of it, which is just part of the charm of that movie. I feel like it is such a disappointment we'll probably never see Tom Hardy's Venom versus Spider-Man as like a purely menacing Venom as the bad guy to Spider-Man in a movie.
Yeah.
Probably won't be seen for a very long time.
Yeah. I love the Venom movies I think they're really cool, but I do think that is one thing that's kind of sad. Is because, like, that Venom isn't, like, a scary, evil monster. That Venom is... I mean, he is a scary monster. But, like, he's like an anti-hero. Like, he's not even a villain, like, at all.
Yeah. And it's like... Yeah, that's what I mean. The only chance they've given Venom to be a pure villain to Spider-Man is in Spider-Man 3. But it's like, that Venom is very short-lived in that movie because they fit the whole... And this is one of the better parts of that movie. They fit the entire, like, black suit storyline into that before Venom even is Venom.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been the giant... buff like monster Venom versus Spider-Man. There has been in a game now, but that's very like sad because you think of Spider-Man and he has so many great villains, but I feel like his top 3 of iconic and like the big bads of Spider-Man are like Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and Venom.
Yeah.
And it would have just been awesome to see like full on vicious monster Venom versus Spider-Man.
Yeah.
As like that's the whole movie, just them two.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome. That's
Yeah. Which, you know, we have had 2 out of the 3 of the big ones, 2 of them have been done very well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, at least we got that. I mean, Green Goblin and Doc Ock both fantastic. Great. You know, from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man stuff, and then they even got brought back to the MCU stuff, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So that was kind of neat. But yeah, I mean, I agree. We kind of been cheated out of Venom stuff, I feel like.
Yeah, and
which
we
is
talked
weird to
about
say too, because he literally has his own 3 movies.
Yeah.
But
and we talked about it before, and there was even some speculation about it. That it would have been great to see the returned version of Andrew Garfield go up against Tom Hardy's Venom. Would have been such a cool movie, and it looks like that's just not going to happen, which is such a missed opportunity. That would have been money bags for Sony. That would have been insanely cool to see.
I agree.
But yeah, I wanted to just single out Venom there because I feel like he is such a popular villain and such an iconic villain, and in terms of, you know, like the 2 heroes whose villains are most well known are like Batman and Spider-Man. I just felt like he deserved the nod of why haven't we seen Spider-Man and Venom fight for a really, really long time, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think another one that we have kind of been cheated out of as far as like big time villains who haven't really gotten their time in the spotlight is we've talked about this before too. But Apocalypse, like the X-Men, like he has his whole movie, but they did not do him justice at all in his movie. Like not even close.
Yeah.
Especially too because like as far as like the X-Men stuff goes, and like I love this villain. This is one of the villains that did get their time in the spotlight, and they've done very well every single time. Magneto, awesome, fantastic.
Even
every time
in the like not greatest moments of like the X-Men movies, he's always really good.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the kind of stuff that I'm like, that what frustrates me so much about what they've done with Apocalypse is I'm like, I don't understand.
Yeah. He should be a multi-movie, all hands on deck kind of threat, and they one-off movied him and used the Phoenix Force as a way to just be like, oh, here's how we beat him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like he should have been the X-Men movies version of like Thanos. Just multiple movies, super powerful, like crazy. But we got the one bad movie.
Yeah, and as much as most of what I know about Apocalypse is just from looking stuff up about this character and stuff, because I've never been like huge X-Men. He on paper is just he is the dark side and the Thanos to the X-Men. He's like the unstoppable entity.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'll use that as a segue into my next thing, which is villains in basically superhero movies that I feel like don't get talked about enough, and these ones do get talked about, but you don't think of them necessarily in terms of like a portrayal because it's not an actor. But I think the Sentinels in Days of Future Past are an awesome villainous force because they're just absolutely unstoppable. Like, they can't be beaten in a fight. And when they show them fighting the X-Men and such in that movie, they literally rip Colossus, who's made of steel, in half and throw him. It's like that is such a good villainous portrayal of the Sentinels in that movie. So that's one I'll throw out.
Yeah. I really do like the Sentinels. I think that also what's cool about them is like it's not like like you said, it's not like like this is just like a bad guy. Like they're just like these things that are like crazy powerful. They're not, talking and stuff like that. Like they're not telling you, oh, these are my demands. Like they just come in and destroy stuff.
And to like with them in that movie, the X-Men characters in that know that they can't beat them in a straight up fight. So whenever they are fighting them, it's literally they know they are going to die. They're just trying to build as much time as possible for the big plan to take the time it needs. Yeah. So that's one where I'm like in the naming of supervillains and stuff in movies that are really good. I feel like they get sidelined a little bit compared to other great portrayals because they're just not actors doing that. It's machines in the context of the story.
This is a little bit off topic, but while we're talking about it, I saw a thing the other day where people were debating whether the Sentinels would be able to beat the Destroyer armor. And a lot of people said, the Destroyer armor would definitely kill the Sentinels solely based on the fact that they don't think the Sentinels would be able to adapt to, because I mean, it's the power of like the gods. So I mean,
well, I think the Destroyer too. Like I feel like the Sentinels could adapt to its like fire or the star energy or whatever it is that it shoots, but the pure strength of the Destroyer, I think, could just pick up a Sentinel and rip it in half. Yeah.
I agree.
That's and good debate, though.
Well, and also, the other thing, too, that they brought up was, like, like, the Sentinels could, like, I guess, like, have a way to, like, save themselves, but, like, you can't really kill the Destroyer armor. Like, what are you going to do to beat the Destroyer armor?
I mean, Thor just hit it in the face really hard.
Yeah. So. But he is also a god.
He is also a god. And I think the Destroyer is made of the same metal as Mjolnir, I'm pretty sure.
I think the Destroyer, too, in general, is weak to, like, only Asgardian magic, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know if the Sentinel would be able to copy Asgardian magic. I don't think so.
I don't know. That is a good debate, though. But yeah, do you have any like characters from movies and shows and stuff that you feel like are villains that are like underrated as supervillains?
So I have two that I feel like, and this is from the MCU, that I feel like did not get a real fair shake. Well, Gore, the God Butcher.
Oh yeah.
They done him terribly wrong.
Yeah.
Terribly, terribly wrong.
He was great for the short amount of time, but he's barely in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what the heck? They did make him cool in the parts where he was in it. He was pretty awesome. Yeah. But it's just like, dude, why?
The like black and white sequences where they're like on his home planet and like his eyes are yellow. Still, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's just another thing where it's like, dude, I feel like either if you're gonna do something like that, you need to make him much more powerful, even if he's only in it for one movie. You know what I mean? Because he is much more powerful. Yeah. Like, have him be super powerful, but for one movie. Yeah. Or you need to give him more time. Like, put him in a post-credit scene or something. Yeah. Go from there. You know what I mean? To kind of sprinkle him in there. Not just... Yeah.
One and done. Yeah. Gone pretty quick.
And then the other one that I was thinking of that I feel like just didn't really get a fair shake. And this one... this one's a little different. I don't like what they done with this character... at all. Yeah. And he's not a super villain, I guess. It's just, I think they just done this character dirty. Icarus in Eternals.
Yes.
I think they done him terribly wrong. Because
Yep.
also, he's like, in like the comics and stuff, he's like pretty cool. Like the stuff that he does in the comics.
Well, I feel like they could have also, with the way his story ended in Eternals, I felt like they could have gone a different direction with him, which is that he could have gone on like a redemption, like a redemptive thing. Because not for any like huge reason, because like his purpose failed and stuff, so he just But I feel like they could have added a lot to him, of him kind of going on like an Omni-Man journey of like he failed his purpose. So
well, and that's what I kind of feel like it was a waste too, like what they done with this character. Because I'm like, man, instead of making him die, why didn't they just make him like leave?
Yeah.
Given the possibility of showing back up.
Yeah, that's a good point. One character I feel like really does not come into a lot of supervillain discussions, and it's not like he's a bad villain. I actually think he's a pretty good villain. But I also feel like he's been so underused, is Zemo from Marvel.
Yeah.
Which he's a good bad guy in like Civil War, and the whole point is he's just like a guy who played his cards right and got everybody else to kill each other as like his revenge for what happened to him. But even when he shows back up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he's so short-lived, and they like have him put on his mask and stuff, and they ask like philosophical questions about the super soldier serum and stuff. But like, and how many storylines have been centered around what could be Captain America stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Also with the Thunderbolts and stuff. Why have we not seen full suit Zemo? And that he's a good villain. Like he in Civil War, I feel like he is a great like kind of intermediary bad guy to what's causing all of this stuff.
I agree.
So that's a character that is underrated to me, but I understand at the same time why he's in a position of being underrated. They just haven't like used him enough and to the fullest extent he could be.
Yeah.
Which he's still around somewhere.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it's not even like because like when they do use him, they use him well. Like the purpose that he serves in like the movies and stuff that he's been in. Like they use him the way that you're supposed to use a character like that. It's pretty good. It's just he's not in a ton of stuff, and he could be.
Yeah. Just not used enough. And then, of course, the ultimate... This character has been thrown around in so many conversations of, like, underrated bad guys is Ultron.
Yeah.
I think, like, I can get past the corny, cheesy, humorous lines that he says, because I still feel like at the end, despite him not being the long-term threat that I think he deserves to be in that movie, I think it's a pretty solid Avengers movie, and he is a good enough villain for the Avengers to not be bored or like think he's not good enough to go up against them. So I feel like he will always remain in that underrated villains discussion.
Yeah. I mean, they've also been talking about how he's gonna come
He'll
back
show
soon.
back up at some point. I don't know how, but at some point. I think I've seen stuff about he'll be some different form in the Vision show. So hopefully they give him some full-fledged strength at some point. It's just, of course, that is just a show.
Yeah.
So they could wrap it up and silence him very quickly.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is a sad thing to say about the state of things with Marvel shows.
Yeah.
And then I was going to ask, probably the last question I'll ask, do you have any supervillains or villain portrayals that you feel are overrated?
Overrated.
I've got one. I'm not like super adamant about this. And maybe it's just like I need to rewatch this movie. I wasn't that impressed with the High Evolutionary in the third Guardians of the Galaxy, and I saw people being like, generational performance. I'm like, it's fine. Like, he's a good bad guy for this movie, but I don't think he's that great. Like, like, for the storyline of that, he's a great bad guy, but it's like, there's nothing insanely special.
I kind of feel that same way, because I'm like, if you take his connection to Rocket out of it, he's fine. You know what I mean? Like, if there wasn't that connection, then he wasn't really doing anything, like, incredibly, like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of MCU villains, I will say he's one of the... Like, you can't watch it really and be like, he's a bad portrayal of a villain, because he's not. I'm just saying, I see people... it's always the clip where he's screaming at, like, his attendant or whatever about, like, him being like, there's no God, that's why I have to do this, and so that I can be that or whatever. And I'm still just like, are we watching the same thing? People post that and be like, Oscar-worthy performance. I'm like, he's just screaming. Like, what? I'm sure I could think of some more overrated ones. Do you have any?
I do have one from the MCU that I've thought this for a while. I don't hate his character. I think he, done a great job acting wise, but Spider-Man: Homecoming Vulture, like, I love Michael Keaton. Yeah. I think he's awesome. But also, I'm like, I mean, it's just a guy with alien tech trying to steal stuff.
He is a little overhyped. I will say that for that movie, I feel like the personality of what I'd expect Vulture to be is pretty great with him. Especially with them taking more like the grounded, like, it's just a metal flight suit and he's just like stealing stuff to make money because he hates Tony Stark and stuff. It's like, okay, it makes sense in the context of the MCU. But yeah, I've also heard people put him in the conversation of all-time greatest comic book movie villains, and I agree. It's like, no, he's not.
Yeah.
He's a good Spider-Man villain. Like, I have no complaint about that. Yeah. But all-time greatest?
Yeah, that's... I'm like, I mean, I guess. He's alright.
Yeah. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't know if I actually have any that I'd say are insanely overrated. I know I could see the case being that when this is what I'll call like the Stranger Things effect. I have a fear about Avengers Doomsday that it'll come out and be amazing, and then that. Now I have no evidence to back this up, but I could see Secret Wars not being great, and it like not doing Doomsday justice, just to like wrap everything up in a nice tidy bow.
Yeah.
So everything's like, oh, it's back to normal after this horrible thing, and I could see like Doom being fantastic and like super powerful and devastating in Doomsday, and then getting beat by some bullcrap in Secret Wars, which I think if that happens, he could start as in the conversation for greatest all-time bad guys in a Marvel movie, and then Secret Wars could diminish it.
Yeah.
Which I'm nervous about. And luckily, that was not the case for Thanos.
Yeah.
They did him right, even though there's the weird, like, they kill the version of him that won, and then the past version of him is the one that comes back. But they did that right. So I hope in whatever way they beat Doom, he goes down hard.
Yeah.
Like, not just like, oh, let's band together Avengers and this way we're unstoppable, because that wouldn't make sense for what we're expecting from Doom. They need a much more thought out, ironclad way of taking him down than just like, let's all just get together and take him down.
I agree.
Know? So that's my worry about that. I'm not super worried about it, but in terms of, in the conversation of villains, I feel like whatever the case is with Doom, it's going to be a very big conversation of what people think of him as the bad guy.
Yeah.
Do you have any other thoughts about supervillains and their portrayals?
Not really. I do want to point out that we kind of went off on a little tangent where a lot of it was
Marvel-based.
A lot Marvel-based. But the only problem is that, and this happens a lot, we've talked about it before too, there's not a lot of DC stuff to go over because there wasn't that many DC movies, and a lot of them used the same people in multiple movies. So...
Yeah, also just, unfortunately, a lot of the conversation of DC villains, especially that comes to mind, is, I'll say, like, Lex Luthor right now is pretty solid. I like him in Superman. But, like, so many of them are just Batman villains at this point. We talked
Yeah.
about Batman villains so many times.
Yeah, exactly. I
So,
mean, unless you guys want to hear us talk about the Joker and Bane again.
Joker, Bane, great performances, but we've been down that
Yeah.
many times already. So, yeah, that's the main thing holding DC back right now is they need to make the other characters just as interesting as Batman and Superman.
Yeah.
Like that is the task right now. But yeah, I think that about does it for us. This has been the Mild Opinion Podcast. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.